She move her body like a shaman. All in my head, so much in common. Just say that word, baby, I'm on it. If this ain't love, then I don't want it. She move her body like a shaman.
Alright, so hi everyone, welcome back to Culture Healing. Today I am psyched again. I'm always psyched apparently, huh? I don't ever not be psyched, you guys will be saying. So today I'm psyched because I am with another female. We are doing another episode of the Sisterhood series. And I asked her a few days ago if she wanted to come on board. We had a long conversation just to like introduce ourselves to each other, etc. And it was really good. So I asked her if she could come again. She messaged me and we're doing it again. So for further ado, please welcome Dallas.
Hi, hello.
So with that being said, good. That is out the way. All right, so today, what did you want to talk about? Which one of the topics? Do you have a specific thing or you just want to vibe again?
Definitely we can just vibe. I think there were some things that were on my mind recently, especially I'm sure you've been seeing on the news here in the States, we've got a lot of racial unrest, and this is not new. But recently there's kind of been more talk about things, especially about colorism.
Yes.
And I was reflecting about my experiences with making more Black female friends, just even when I was younger and just even now, and realizing what I want in my life and who I want to surround myself with. And, you know, with these topics of race and colorism, I was realizing that that was also playing into my personal connections with other Black women. So I don't know, I guess I had wanted to ask you about your experiences with colorism, or like if you thought that that played into your journey with, or your trajectory of connecting with other Black women.
Female. Yeah, colorism is actually a major thing in the Caribbean. I've said this so many times already. I'm sure people have heard me say this, that in the Caribbean, especially here in Barbados, there's this saying that goes, "A good red woman is a dead red woman." And yes, and a red woman, there's so many. There, red woman is a dog. You can't trust a red woman. And if you see a man's heart is broken, best believe is a red woman. I'm telling you, yeah.
So this is like in reference to lighter skinned women.
Oh, yes, please. Like maybe your color and shades brighter than your color. Me now, I pass in between, right? But your shade and lighter is basically what the colorism issue is here in the Caribbean. But also, it comes down to a thing where if you are lighter, right? If you're lighter, you tend to get the most jobs, right? You tend to get more attention. You tend to get married faster. You tend to get the good man faster. And basically, that is another ploy, a narrative to separate the two women culture. Also, if you're in a relationship, friendship with a red woman, right? It tends to have this big comparison thing going on, right? So there is always some sort of conflict within any area of your life when it comes to colorism and just being able to exist in any form or fashion.
Wow. So, yeah. I feel like hearing you say that, like it was bringing me right back to like elementary, middle, high school when I was younger. And, you know, I've been this shade, you know, since forever. And at my high school, it was a pretty diverse high school, but all of the Black students, like they seemed to kind of click together, and a lot of this kind of had to do with who was in your classes. And so for me, I was in some of the elevated classes, so most of my peers were white actually. So when it came to interacting with the other Black students or the Black woman that I wanted to connect with, I always felt that there was this sense of wrongness, almost like I did something wrong for being born the way that I was. You know, people would say stuff about my hair, but it wasn't a compliment. It was almost like, you know,
a jealousy or something in that sort.
Yeah.
Or envy, not jealousy.
Or something like that. And I felt like this kind of preconceived or already pre-programmed dislike for people who were lighter, or for people who came from a different culture or acted differently, or things like that. It made it really difficult for me to connect with people, and I guess I've been reflecting on that more now, and thinking about how that's led up to why I think part of the reasons why it's also been so difficult for me to connect with other Black women as an adult is because I hadn't had a lot of experiences with
positive experience, basically.
Positive experiences, yeah. And so this idea of envy and this idea of shaming people for, their differences, whether the way they look, their different socioeconomic backgrounds, their different, all of this stuff. I think it's something that all of us as Black women need to kind of look within ourselves and recognize where our biases are, and try to unlearn some of those.
Yes, agree. The thing is, I'm actually currently, but I'm doing so much research for it. I did where racism started, right? And I am currently doing some research. I cannot find information. I did this video about 4 months ago with this guy, and I am not able to find certain information to show validity of what he is saying because they have hidden it so well. So a lot of people need to realize that we were colonized way before slavery started to become a thing, right? They were setting their grounds a long time ago, right? So they came into certain areas and start pinning certain colors against each other for a long time. For full example, that this is actually something that is still happening. When you look in India have a thing called the caste system, right? Okay, then I know a lot of people know about this. And if you really go into India, you will realize that a lot of the Indian people are Black people, right? They are Black Indians. But in the caste system, your different shade of color made you more important in a different factor. And the darker you are, the less important you are, and the less economical job, if I can put it in that form, you get, right? Yeah. So they are still living that colorism, coloristic, if I could say that, society in a whole. So in the United States now, it's not most colorism, but it is prevalent. Why? Because you are not just compared to being lighter skin, you're compared to being how close of a skin you are to a white person and how darker you are from the person in the middle, which is the mulattoes they tend to call you guys. Right? So
yeah. So with this as well, I mean, because I've been I studied Africana studies when I was in university because I needed to understand my history, and I wasn't taught my history in school,
Yes, of course.
And so the more I was looking into it, my mind was really blown about how, people don't really realize that the beginning of mixed race people was part of racism and white supremacy. It was usually as a result of rape and things like that.
Yes, please. So get into it, boo. Get into it.
Demonize lighter skinned people and to demonize like this a group of people whose very beginning was that of oppression and rape and mistreatment. I also felt like quite it's just like a really harsh reality. And I think I told you about some of my close Black female friendships in Thailand when I lived out there, and two of my closer friends out there were biracial, half Black, half white. And so I came from having my experiences when I was younger of being seen as, oh, you're light skinned, oh, you think you're better than us, oh, blah, 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 this and that. And so that's my experiences. But when I met these biracial women and got to talking about race and learning about their experiences, I realized that there's also a whole host of other issues and experiences that they had as well. So yes, they do benefit from
being lighter.
being lighter skinned, yeah.
But that is a
color.
plan and a ploy. Continue. I just want to add that is a plan, that's a ploy to pin us against each other. But yeah, continue.
Exactly. So they do benefit in some ways, and especially if they are not speaking out and being anti-racist and giving space and voice for darker people, then that can be very problematic as well. But it helped my understanding to hear their stories and to like talk to them and kind of like swap experiences. I was also noticing though that with the biracial people that I knew in my life, I was treated differently from them. Like even in Thailand, they're very much from this lighter skin is better, from bleaching skin, lightening creams and this and that. So me as a Black woman coming to Thailand, I think there was this like fear and hesitation and uncertainty about how to even engage with me. But my biracial friends had a completely different experience in Thailand. Like they were treated like white people, and I remember sometimes feeling this inner, not resentment, but I would say there was a conflict with my feelings with, hanging out with these people, having Thai people speak to them, but just kind of like not addressing me or not wanting to talk to me. Sometimes, this wasn't all the time, but there were these moments where it was brought to my attention again about, colorism, racism, and it does create conflict with
and that is the point. That is the point, and that is the point actually of the sisterhood in the melanated community being broken. That conflict, because we of ourselves, even though we are Black people or melanated people, we still have stupid issues. I call them stupid because I find that is so petty for you to look at a person's color to then judge their character and then look at them being offered a better position than you. Remember, they're being offered a better position not because they want to, it's because they know if I offer the lighter girl, this is an economical plot. Let's put it this way. If I offer the other girl a better position than you because of her skin color, you're going to feel bad, you're going to work harder, you're going to want to gain my respect, and I'm going to get more out of you than out of her, right? Also, using this other girl's color, I can send her to other places. Her color being what it is, I will be able to get more prepositions. She is a lot prettier. I can use her in body if she's of low self-esteem. This is not a good thing. Understand that these people are using us for their gain. Understand? So the moment they have us seeing shade is the moment we are working in their plan to make it better. If I'm making any sense right now.
Right. No, absolutely. I mean, there's so much psychology that goes into white supremacy and racism, like it's very intentional. And so knowing that we're living in a system that is intentionally oppressing us, dividing us, and pitting us against each other, for me, as I've gotten older and become a little bit more self-aware of all of this stuff, it's made me prioritize finding Black friendships, no matter what shade you are. And it's not like I'm like, okay, I need to find just darker skinned women or just lighter skinned women. It's like, no. It's I need Black women in my life, and we need to communicate and talk and open up and share these experiences, because this is the only way to
move forward. To heal. And to heal.
Healing.
And when it comes to colorism here in the community, well, because you see how you guys have the United States where music and movies and everything comes from, that is like the center of your world, right? The United States. Well, a lot of Caribbean people are not gonna like me saying what I'm about to say, but it is the truth. Okay, deal with it. Jamaica is like the center of the universe, right? Because if anybody here, you're from the Caribbean, best believe the men gonna they're gonna start talking Rasta one until they were like, wait, you're from Jamaica? I'm like, no, there are more islands in the Caribbean than Jamaica. But because Jamaica is the center of the Caribbean, bring the music out. They have most of the top musicians also there as well. Their culture, in terms of being a bit more connected to the African culture, is a bit stronger than we are. They are more of a black race than we are in terms of complexion, because a lot of people over there are darker than we are.
Mm-hmm,
but what is starting to happen is a lot of the celebrities right over there are actually bleaching.
Yes, getting lighter and lighter, right?
Boom. Exactly. So one of the main artists that a lot of us used to look up to was Vybz Kartel. And he was, I'm not going to bleach my skin because of this and because of that. Then all of a sudden, he got a whole song talking about he liked to bleach with his cake. So right now, Vybz Kartel looks so almost, not fully, almost Michael Jackson type of color, right? I'm going to show you the image. Let me see if I can show you. Right. So and then with that now, with him being the pinnacle of an idol, right?
Yeah.
With him being that's his role. If he starts to do that, obviously the children who look up to this man is going to start to bleach their skins as well. Because if he do it, then therefore I can do it. And then bleaching take a whole big out on the road. It became the biggest commodity there is. So, cake soap was the in-ish, right? So a lot of what we are talking about is not just conversation. It is a mental thing that we are fighting every single day.
Every day, yeah.
To make reference and how it is, we know that the Willie Lynch letter is not a true fact, but psychologically it makes a lot of points. And within some of the Willie Lynch letter, it said that in order to then create, I should say, colorism, we should have the lighter skin in the house be treated better than the field slave outside, right? And that's how that riff became a thing. Now you had that riff for, let's say, 100, 150 years. The lighter skin is in the house, they get treated better. The mulattoes are this, this was a ploy. And then all of that got released into the world, right? With their caste system in India, they got to the Native Americans and all of those things implementing that. Then slaves who with that mentality got into the world, they're going to hire the lighter skin because this is a ploy. You're going to create a riff again. So this is where it's going to come down. Then you're going to hear parents saying, hey, because she lighter is when this is going to happen. Your children hear you talking about this to somebody else, then that child thinks is something right to say, take up the mantle from mom or grandmother, carry it in their environment of friends, and create a narrative.
Exactly. And you still see this in a lot of the older generations here in America, especially. I feel like they are still stuck in this. I've been thinking about this, and I feel like older generations are stuck in this space of fear. So they grew up in a very tumultuously racial time. And I'm not saying that we all haven't since, African enslavement.
All right.
And he didn't look like that before.
I'm going to find you a before image. He was as dark as there it is. Let me show you how dark he was before.
How? Oh my gosh. And you just think that no one's going to remember that.
Right? Exactly.
Geez,
wow.
Devastating. Yeah, that's so problematic.
Exactly. Continue.
It was making me think about how even growing up, hearing my grandma talk about Black people, and she even in herself had this mindset of, if you have dark skin, you're ugly and you're not intelligent and you're not worth it and blah, 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 blah. And even if she hasn't said those words directly, it was what she was saying, and it was what she was insinuating. And I feel like a lot of older people carry this, because all they've seen is if you're Black or brown, that is
more
bad.
Opportunities
and whiteness. Yeah.
It's good.
The closer you are to white, then you're beautiful and this and that. And so that carries on, and you pass it down from generation to generation, especially if you're not practicing unlearning and unteaching that stuff. So I don't know, for me, I'm definitely actively on the search because I'm recently back to the States, so I don't have a friends group here. And for me, I want to go about this in a way that is organic and, fluid, but I also, part of me sometimes gets nervous about making these female connections because of those past experiences I had when I was younger. And on top of that, being Black in America, if you were not born in another country or have the language, the nationality, the traditions, and the cultures of people from the islands, the Caribbeans, the countries in Africa, things like that, there's something that I feel like there's also kind of like a judgment there as well, because I remember in university, yeah, and it's like so true, but it goes both ways, right? So, in university, I met some people who were Nigerian and Ghanaian and things like that, and they were like, "Oh, so like, where's your family from?" And I was like,
right here, just right here."
Yeah, and I felt like I was seen as kind of like not worthy enough because like I didn't have those language, I didn't have traditional cuisine from like my people, this and this and this. So being Black in America as well there's an element
you feel like you left out something in terms of your own heritage in a way.
Absolutely. And then on the flip side of that, I have like Ethiopian American friends who have talked to me about their experiences about that same thing, about when they talk to Black people here in America, they're like, "Oh, but you're not Black, you're African." And they're like, "But I was born here, but my family is from Ethiopia. Like I'm first generation, so it's like I am Black, and I'm also American. I'm Ethiopian American, and this and this and this." And people being like, "No, but you're not Black like us." And so.
What does that even mean, though? That's my thing. Because, okay, let's be realistic. Understand that statement is so, I am afraid to
problematic.
Right? Check it. So you're trying to tell me that you looking at a person's skin being Black. You're not Black. You're mixed. You came from slavery where they slept with your mama, right? Your father most likely was half white because he was birthed of molestation, rape, whatever that is, right? You yourself is not Black. Okay?
Right.
So don't say that to people. I am not Black, if you want to say that. My mother, father was of a different Native American, let's put it that way, right? And her mother was Black, but I'm sure her mother mixed with some sort of white in her. So my father was Black, my mother is clear. That don't mean anything. So we all are not Black.
Exactly. Exactly. And I think that's something too that's important to remember, is that all Black people, we are from the African diaspora, but the diaspora has been
watered
down with all sorts of nations and cultures and like that. Yeah,
come on now, check it. We have people who are mixed with Asian and Black. Hello, white and Black, Native American and Black. And come on now, those are, to me, those are like the three main races, and they're all, and the thing is that people are not noticing, right? You and I are mixed. My mother is lighter than I am by far. Her hair is a bit straighter and everything. That's where I get the kink from and the curl. But my father is Black. His DNA overpowered my mother. No matter what race us Black people tend to mix up with, our DNA becomes stronger at the end of the day, which means we are still Black.
Exactly. Yes.
Your point is what? Stop saying that. You sound ridiculous. For me, if I'm going to think, if you want to say that people from Africa are more in touch, right? Because they're not fully in touch. They were colonized as well, right? But let's say that they are more in touch with their heritage, their culture, spirituality. Hell, I can say yeah, right? But you can't tell them because they come from Ethiopia or Israel that they're not Black. That's ridiculous. Come on now.
Right. Yeah. And these are some of the things, the conversations that you just hear growing up, and I feel like when we learn to put that down and start accepting people and, you know, understanding our own history. So maybe that's part of what it is, like people not really truly understanding history, lineage, you know, these, you know, the rapes that went down, the colonization, you know, that went down, things like that. When you are misinformed, which a lot of people here are, because like I said, we don't learn about Black history or true Black history in schools here. So I was going to ask, like, how would you, when trying to meet other women, Black women, and to have healthier connections and healthy, true relationships with them, like what advice would you have when
going about something like that?
Yeah, like the things with colorism and
for me, I be myself always. What you see is what you get, right? I truly believe in energy being your utmost attractiveness. Like if you are of something, your energy attracts something. Like for instance, when she and I met, well, on my part, I'm speaking on my part, I don't know, but I felt on her part as well, right? Yeah. I felt like when I started speaking to her, like I knew her, and I did not feel like I should put up a wall speaking to her. I just met this girl like a few days ago, by the way. Understand? But I did not feel like I should put a wall up. There is no need, because I authentically wanted to know about her experience, where she went, what happened, and we spoke about all of those things, right? So for me, I let my energy lead me, right? And then when we have a conversation, I listen to the speech and the narrative of the other female, right? So if this other female is talking to me about you, so you see that celebrity and you see what she do, and I'm like, so have you read maybe the new Jim Crow, you know, right. You know, like, like, no, have you read like Nature?
Together, yeah. I love that, but being led by energy and letting kind of like those soul connections take over. And you know, I remember my aunt saying something like, yeah, I was complaining to her about how, especially when all of this racial unrest was going on a couple months ago, especially, and I was telling her how there's been a couple of white friends that I had in my life that I was like, I don't know, like, I think those relationships are coming to an end. They're showing me more of themselves, and just like energetically, I just like, I can't be teaching people. I can't be like, I'm trying to get to a different level, and like, they're weighing me down, you know? And I remember my aunt being like, well, you know, Dallas, sometimes friendships and relationships, like you're meant to be teaching someone and bringing them to their next level. And I was just kind of like, no, I don't want to do that. I want to be with people around me who we can grow together, and they have a willingness, because it's also not someone else's job to teach you. I'm not paid to be a teacher to, like, you know, all these people and to help you be a better person. But if we can grow together and show each other, you know, if it's a mutual kind of relationship, then yes, of course, like that sounds so beautiful. But yeah, that's been on my mind as well, and I love the way you said that, being led by the energy connection. So yeah, sounds good.
We're good.
Yeah,
I need not move something is glitching. I need to figure out what it is. Okay, all right. Okay, just keep me posted, because I don't want to talk about something and then is not recorded.
Yeah. Crystal clear right now.
Got it. Right. So as I was saying, right, this is how I think about it. And this is where I don't take it too personally or it affects me anymore. Listen, it used to affect me so much. The fact that every time I communicate with someone is that I am teaching. And I'm like, but what I can't, the thing is that used to annoy me is sometimes I will have my issues and I want somebody to give me advice, even though I know what to do. I still want to hear somebody say, hey,
another
blah, blah, blah. Exactly. Yeah. So I never really had a person that I could go to and run to and say, hey, I need your help, blah, 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 without getting some negative reaction or whatever. I needed you to tell me, hey, you know what? You being a bitch right now. Blah, 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 blah. Or maybe think of it this way. I never had those people, but I was those for those people, right? And I'm like, damn, how much more do I have to give? But then I realized in our society, there are only a few of us that can do this, right? That were able to put in a position to be responsible. And how I look at it is, if I teach her or him, he is then going to go teach someone else, which means that is more teacher to help me and help other people like me who may want to take a back seat and let people work. That's how I look at it, right? So I always say that, yes, it is a lot of pressure. Yes, it is to want to grow with the same people that you're growing with, that is on the same level as you. But then what about the people who don't have that level? So then let us pace each other out and teach other people, but have that fail-safe group that is on your level where you could go back and say, oh, I'm tired, I just need to vibrate. Right? And then use your other energy to help people who don't know much or don't know what to do next. Because once upon a time, and this is why I took up this philosophy, once upon a time, I didn't know nothing, right? And the hurtful thing about this is I did not have a person to teach me. Here in the Caribbean is like, if I throw you in the sea, you better learn to swim. If you don't know to swim, that's your issue. That is what it is to live here, right? And if you don't know nothing, best believe nobody ain't coming to say, okay, let me help you. They're going to down on you and say, well, but why you don't know this? You're supposed to know this. You're at the age where you're supposed to know this. And this is how it goes. So from a young age, and most of that came from my family, by the way, not even stranger. And then the stranger tap onto that. Right. So as I got older, I tell myself, no matter what it is, once you know it and somebody asks you who do not know, tell them. Don't ever belittle them because they do not know. Once upon a time, you were in their position.
Exactly. And don't withhold information as well. Yeah, that's like, I mean, that is what life is. Like, we are all students right now, you know? If you are alive, you are a student and you should be learning, and you should be sharing and asking the questions as well. But I love what you said about how we can do that. And there's many people out here who are doing that. However, we need a break, and we need to kind of come back to base and kind of just vibe out and relate to people who are
on that
at closer. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So it can be a two for all. It don't have to be a thing where you just stick to your vibing base people. You can have your vibing base, and then you can have the base where people come to you. So I have a friend who comes to me, and she's like, Lana. I'm like, yeah. She's like, I need your energy. And I'm like, okay, give me a moment. Let me, settle myself, and then I could be able to give you the energy that you need. So she come to me, we sit down, we talk about any and everything, and then she will come feeling really sad, and then she will go home feeling so good, right? So so there are those type of people who just want to feel something different. And then there are the types that I have that will come and say, hey, I'm going through some issue, and I need you to not be, I need an unbiased opinion, and you're the only person I can think of that has that opinion. And I'm like, yeah, no problem. Shoot, what is it? You ready? Because whatever you can tell me, I can give it to you deep if it's need be. And they own up. So there are those groups. And then there are groups that I have, which I can say, yo, I need some energy.
Yeah. Like, let me vibe with your energy.
So then I call them up. We do 3 ways. We do 6-hour conversation. And then when I vibe out, and all of us, because we are on that same frequency where we're not really pulling, but we're just putting in. And when we finish, we feel as energetic as ever. So you can have both worlds, huh?
Yeah, I think it's important as well to recognize who is bringing that out in you. There's been a lot of relationships with other women that I've had, like, either in high school, whatever, university, my travels abroad. And there's some people that you realize, I was vibing with you, and like this, I felt great. Like, obviously we're friends or whatever, but I'm starting to notice that like my battery is being drained, or I'm not feeling
refreshed.
as refreshed, or I'm not feeling like I can be as vulnerable as I want to be, and this and that. So for me, just like how you said, like, oh, I am who I am and this is what you see is what you get.
Yeah.
This is how I've been trying to be, is to not to put on that front and to just kind of be the true me, so that people can really see what they're signing up for when they
I agree with
welcome me into their lives.
Yeah, I agree with you, because we have been in a society where we've known to live our personas, right? We have perfect the art of living personas.
And performative, whatever,
Exactly. And we have made that persona the most beautiful thing in the world. But what we have done is neglect ourselves, right? We have neglect who we are as that person. And for me, it has been such a pleasure learning who I am. Why? Because at the moment I learned who I am as a being, I was able to then attract people like myself, right? And it was so beautiful to attract people like myself, because then I was able to learn a different aspect of life. And it was so beautiful learning a different aspect of life. And I said to that day to myself, I'm like, this is the most peaceful and the most true you've ever been in your life. And I like this feeling, and I am never going to be someone else, because I'm going to miss this authentic connection, or these authentic connection that I have been having for these times. So I made a promise to myself to always be me. Yeah. And if it's so that I be me too much and it's too heavy on a person, I apologize. But I explain to them that this is who I am, and I am still in reform of this being.
Yeah.
So that is why I said be your true self, because you miss out on great shit. Simply put.
Exactly. Yeah. I was going to ask, so it sounds like you've done a lot of self-work, and like, from what we've talked about before, and I've been on my own journey as well with spirituality and just becoming a better version of myself, each and every day. Like, how can I just be a better person, And so I wanted to ask, like, how do you, in your journey of growth and reflection, are there ways that you think that you could be a better friend to women, or just, like a better friend in life? Are there areas that you've thought about and you're like, I think maybe I could strengthen myself and strengthen my connections with other people if I
do this or do that? I don't know. I've always been this way. That's the thing. No, honestly, I have had my shields, right? But behind my shields was me being afraid that if I be too much of myself, that I will come off as a boastful, bold person, and they're gonna think, oh, she's all that, or she thinks she's all that. And mind you, I've had ex-female friends who have said that to me, and it crushed my spirit. And if I did not have people around me to tell me, no, actually, you are nothing to what this person said, ooh, I would have been down on believing what that person said. But what that person did do for me, and I am always going to thank her for that, is she has made me check who I am to make sure that I am not the way she may be seeing, right?
So isn't that like problematic, that she came off thinking that you were too assertive, too bossy, too this and that? These are all terms that are used to gaslight and weaken Black women, right?
Yes, exactly. And she, as a female friend who I trusted, said those things to me. And I'm like, yo, what do you mean? We are almost the same in every aspect of the way. So why would you? But then I learned what was happening was she was mirroring herself onto me. And because I'm the type of person who you can come and say almost anything to and be like, you know what? It's cool. Why? Because I can see that your emotions behind it is the true stuff. I don't take you as face value. You could come to me and tell me, I dislike you because you are a bitch. And I'm going to be like, what happened today, hon? Who made you mad? Right? Instead of be like, wait, what? I'm not going to do that. I'm going to be like, wait, who ruined your day? What is it? Tell me. Right? And then that is how come that happened. So she told me what she told me, and I simply just replied with 2 words, her name and okay. And that was that. right? I cried the heck out of my eyes. But I had people around me who read the message and was like, yo, no, actually, you're not like this. Actually, you're the opposite. So what she was trying to do without her knowing, by the way, was break my spirit, right? And what she did was made me stronger, because in that moment, I checked myself and I'm like, yo, I wonder if other people see me this way. I wonder if it is that I'm too much for people. And why it is do they think that I'm too much? Is it something that's wrong with them? Is it something that they didn't have? Is it something that I am doing too much? And that is where I've learned to read people's emotion and feed people what they may be missing. So I learned to, if you are the type of person who never had a lot of hugs in life, I hug you. Too much. If it is that you have never had somebody that say, I love you a lot, I'm always like, I love you, boo. You know I love you, right? And I let you feel that. So for me, I always put in what you are empty of. I fill your glass where it is empty, but within doing that, I learned to teach you how to fill your glass yourself.
Yeah.
Right? So did I answer your question?
Yes, absolutely. And it sounds like from what you were saying as well, these are like traits of someone who is highly empathic and has lots of emotional intelligence. And I think that comes when you have those tools. Like some people have to learn them, some people gather them along the way in life, but once you have those tools, they foster healthier relationships, and you can be not even just for friends, but for your family, for if you have kids, if you are in a romantic relationship.
Yourself.
Yeah, for yourself. Yeah.
I want to write that back at you. I want to put that right back at you as well. Please tell me what you would do.
To improve or to be a better friend. Let's see. I think for me, so I'm a fire sign, right? And I believe in all of this. And I believe that some people exhibit certain traits. For me, I wouldn't say that I'm necessarily combative, but if I hear things that are counter to either what I know or what I feel, then I want to engage in a conversation to unpack this a little bit more, you know, and not necessarily to come off as like, I'm right, you're wrong, but let's unpack this together and explore where we can go with this.
My type of girl.
For me, people have told me that this is problematic about, you know, like, oh, like you're so confrontational and this and this. And I believe that actually it's important to confront and to hold people accountable and to speak about things, because then when you don't, it's just brushed under the rug and no one grows. So for me, I think I know that this trait is in me, that I am constantly asking questions. I'm constantly, you know, trying to unpack things. So for me, I think what I could do to improve is to do a better job of maybe reading the people that I'm unpacking with, or maybe holding accountable, or you know, asking these questions to, and not to say not come off so pushy. Aggressive, because I hate the word aggressive and pushy when it comes to how we express ourselves. But I think if
passionate.
I can
Passionate is a more beautiful word.
Yes. Passionate. And I'm passionate about so many things.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think for me, it's learning to listen and hold space for people to divulge information to me, to divulge their feelings to me, and then hold the space, process it, and and I feel like I've been intentionally doing this a little bit more with taking a pause to kind of really let things settle before I get like reactive and just start like, well, this, you know,
and start reading and start away. Yeah, and I find that people always say that Black women are loud, they are too pushy, they are controlling. But let's take a step back, shall we? I like taking my steps back to let you realize that we just decide we want to be pushy and controlling, you know. Let's just put it out there, understand? And let's not negate the fact that we are the ish, if I can say it, okay? Not just that too, we are of a passionate being. We are beings that are passionate about representing ourselves and representing the wrong in any situation there is. So as long as a Black woman see something that she considered just unjust, she's gonna stand up for that. Okay, she's gonna be as passionate as she wants. We are a bit high in octave. Why? Because we have lived a life where people don't listen to us. They do not listen to us. Picture yourself living your life for your whole life being programmed to be a caterer to other people but yourself, right?
And ignored, and our thoughts and feelings aren't considered at all, or considered like, oh, that's in your head or whatever. It's going to do something to you where you want to be like, no, this is the reality, and you want to be your own advocate.
Exactly. Yeah. So you want to express yourself, which then you were never really taught how to express yourself. So the only way that you can express yourself is being loud as shit, because we have learned that raising our voices gets people attention.
Yeah.
That is the main reason why a Black woman raises her voice, because we have lived the life of being for other people, for ourselves, and then we get to the age where we're like, you know what? I'm tired of being this person for you. What about myself? I don't want to hear it. Sometimes a lot of us get so worked up in wanting to be heard and notice that we get too self-consumed with that reality and become that persona, right? Which then creates bad images along the way, right? But some of us then know how to be that persona and still have that positive clash with it and become whole with that. For myself, this is me all the time. I don't raise my voice. I don't quarrel loud and be all obnoxious. But when it is that I do speak in an octave, it is of stern nature, and I don't know, people just become quiet. It is possible to communicate without being high, for lack of a better word, right? So this is always what I want men and other race of people to understand about Black people. You've had your culture where you are able to do what the heck you feel like doing. You've had your culture where you were able to create your own, to be your own, to have a society where you can go out into the world and people can be like, yo, I like you, come a model for me. Yo, I like you, I want you to come and become a manager. Yo, I like you, let me give you a job. We are not offered these things without them saying, hey, you look sexy, I want to do something for you, for me to give you something. We are always being targeted in a real way, for lack of a better word, understand? So when we go out into society, it is automatic that we're going to put up a defense wall, because we don't know who is going to come at us in the most disrespectful way, or if you're going to be authentic. So understand that we're not out here trying to be ghetto people. We're protecting ourselves. Okay?
Right. And I think like as well, like linking being louder when you speak and communicate, or being someone who's outspoken and speaks their mind as someone who is ghetto, that is very problematic. You know what I mean? And you're right, like we haven't been afforded the same liberties at all to express our thoughts and feelings and emotions. And I think especially when it comes to the Black woman, being able to be vulnerable, it's always, oh, you have to be strong, you have to care for us, the strong Black woman. It's like, no, like everyone can be strong, but like don't put it on us like that's what our role is, that we have to be that and do that, period. No, we are complex people. Everyone has a myriad of emotions. So like, let us be free to express ourselves. And it's like, we don't even need your permission. It's like, we will be free to express ourselves and do what we need to do. And if you don't like it, okay, let's talk about it and let's unpack that. But
yes, make sure that you not liking that is not from somebody else's oppressed opinion. Right there, I could say that. Oppressed opinion, but it's of your own opinion also, not just oppressed, but from your own experience, emotional point of view. And here I said experience emotional point of view, because I tend to see that a lot of people give advice and have their own opinions based on their life experience, and then the emotion they build for that life experience. Your experience and your emotion has nothing to do with another person's emotion. And this is where I love what she said about unpacking, because I feel this is what we right now in the next 20 to 30 years need to do, is unpack every single thing we have learned, because with that we will then say, hey, okay, take off the cloak. I don't like this. I want to learn how to be me. I want to learn how to have opinions from a different perspective and point of view, right? So for me, I am that way. If it's so that we are having an issue, I want to be like, let's talk about it. Let me hear why it is that you have an issue with me wearing green. Why? Right? I want to know why you think I shouldn't wear green. Is it because it may look bad on me? Is it because you have had a bad experience with green? Or is it because I wear green too much? Right? I want to know what is the issue, because when I decide to unpack with another person, I'm not unpacking to read you to make you feel bad. I want you to hear the opinions that you have about me wearing green, so that way you can see, wait, is this a personal thing? I'm not reading this girl because I don't like green, but I taking it out on her. That is the reason that I like to unpack and to get into it. But I find that a lot of people don't like to face their own opinions and true nature behind those opinions. That is where the defensiveness happens, and they deflect a lot. Yeah. And that is how people tend to quarrel, because they deflect, because they don't want to face the reality of the reason behind anything.
Yeah, some of my closest friendships have been ones where we can call each other out in a way where we're both trying to heal and trying to understand. So I think when understanding and love and healing are like the root of what you're trying to do, as opposed to, like you said, let me call you out and let me teach you about yourself, and like, let me, instead of coming for you, like, let's just talk about it. And I think some of my healthiest relationships have been one in where I could do that. And it's not always easy. Like, sometimes conflict can be hard and it can be humbling, especially if you're on the receiving end of that. But again, like I said, I'm really trying to get to a place where, especially when it comes to my friendships, if they have criticisms or critiques about me and my behavior, instead of getting defensive, really it should be, thank you for telling me about your experience. And what can I do to think about this a little bit more, process it, and, kind of move from there. So I'm trying to get to that space of like, okay, thank you for making me aware of this.
Yes. I find that we will continue to have an issue with people telling us about, green don't look good in your skin because you like green, they don't like green. And you're going to find, because you've had your whole life where somebody trying to tell you, oh, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. So we have to unlearn that trigger experience in order for we to then come to a point where we can actually take constructive criticism for what it is, constructive, right? And then reform that into saying, making ourselves better, right? So we have had, it's going to take some time, sometimes, not all the time, because I've learned how to take myself out of people's opinion about me, or maybe telling me something. I'm always open to people saying something like, you know what, sometimes you just be too much. I'd be like, for real? What do you mean? Right? So this is always my reaction about something. I listen to understand what is, because I can't see me. I don't know what I'm doing sometimes. I don't know how I come off all the time. But if you can tell me how you see me in your light, that don't mean I'm going to always take your opinion. But if it's so that it resonates with the things that I am noticing about myself, then I take that into consideration and then apply it.
Exactly.
Yeah. Right. So I have a question for you. As you're there, you have a fear of opening up to your fellow females. So when did you notice that, is what I want to ask?
Not necessarily like a fear of opening up, but I've reflected over time how like there's been some relationships that it's been difficult to open up and talk about maybe things that I personally want to talk about. And, I mean, looking through psychology books and just kind of looking more deeper into this, I think the last time we talked about how childhood is kind of like the root of our adult behaviors and our learned behaviors. So if you grow up in a home where voicing your opinion is met with strife, combativeness, punishment, if you don't feel safe in your spaces to trust someone to open up because you're like, I don't think that they'll be able to hold this in the way that I need them to hold it and to share with me, then it creates this very isolated identity, and so I think when I was younger, especially because of the upbringing that I had, and the relationship with my mom that I had, it was very toxic. And so growing up, me expressing my opinions, me expressing my thoughts and feelings, me expressing my needs was always met with anger, lots of yelling, lots of punishment, lots of, this and this. It was all negative reactions. And so it wasn't until I moved away and went to university that I had to experience and learn and kind of like teach myself that, Dallas, if you share your truth with someone, they won't always react that way. If you share your truth with someone, you will wake up tomorrow. Like, you are not going to die from, being vulnerable and this and that. I mean, there were years where I didn't cry when I was living at my house with my family because I didn't want to show weakness. I didn't feel safe enough to. I didn't, Meanwhile, flash forward, I go away to university and I realize like, oh wow, I'm a very emotional person. And like, I like to cry and I like to release. I don't like to be, feel like I have to be this stone wall, So I think for me, childhood and just like trauma and upbringing and like reinforcement from other people's behaviors were things that have influenced the way that I've interacted with people, both in the past and now. And so now it's more that I'm an adult and I'm more aware of this stuff. It's kind of like doing a lot of reparenting of myself as an adult. And
I like that,
nurturing my inner child and letting her know that you are safe because you are in me and I am taking care of you. And if you need to express yourself, if you need to cry, if you need to do, whatever, like, do that. You can do that. And so kind of just validating what I need now. So I find it a lot easier to communicate with people now, but like you never just forget about your past and your childhood. So there's things that I'm always continually working on when it comes to communication, conflict, addressing things, being an advocate for myself, and trying to move forward without fear like I used to have when I was younger.
Okay. All right. I like that. And it is true that a lot of us do have issues from then. A lot of us don't even know we have issues from then as well, And it is so crazy that we weren't taught to resolve those issues. And I love that she said we have to reparent ourselves. You have to, because you yourself one day is going to become a parent, and you have to ask yourself, is the person that I am right now fit enough or healthy enough to parent another being? Like, do I want to keep repeating the cycle, or do I really want to change the cycle? And I'm going to say this again, that is the reason for the Sisterhood series, because we as females are the influence of our kids, right? And with how the system have it, where they have create a dynamic where they must separate the Black man and the Black woman. They have created it psychologically, economically. They have made the child what you call it now, child support system all of those things, so that way we do not have a healthy relationship, right? So all that is left is for the female to raise her kids. And let's be realistic, for the last however long this child support system has been in and single parent home has been a thing, if you really check the children that are coming out of the homes, they are not healthy minded, right? So that is to show you we as female are not really doing a good job right now, right?
Well, I think it's, I mean, so what we talked about before about it takes a village, you know, and that collective of raising children, and even just ourselves as people, we need community, we need all hands on deck. And so when you have here in the States the issue of mass incarceration, which is racism, and that divides families,
right?
And there's lots of single, you know, Black moms, and they're doing what they can to bring in some money and this and that, but they also haven't been doing the internal work, or haven't maybe been seeking therapy or whatever to unpack past generational traumas. Like, I think you find lots of households that
are so
don't
distracted,
fully equipped to handle and cope with things in life.
I agree with you. And to show that the woman then is forced, right, to go out and provide. And not just that, she is forced to provide however she sees fit to provide, right? And then having your child see whatever it is that you may be doing, and also your child is left there to be unprotected. So whether it be unprotected to the school system, let's be realistic here, people. The school system is nothing but a small version of prison for children.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, yes.
Okay, so that way that when they do get big, if they do go to prison, they already know what to do. Okay,
ready. Oh my gosh,
They're not teaching us anything, literally. They're not teaching you anything at all to do with internal work. Understand? The fact that people think that you definitely need a full-blown education for the system to survive, and not show you that your ass can manifest without an educational system, right? That is what the internal work, they do not want you to become aware of the powers that you have as a being to get and attract anything that you want in your life. So your child is out there in the prison school system, right? He is then put into the television world to then program him as well and her as well. And then you not being there, some other influence is going to influence your child. What do you think is going to come out of homes when they're not the village, when there isn't a man there to reinforce certain things in a boy that he needs? You know what I mean? So it's like we are out of this the black relationship all around, whether it be female and male. We are at a huge disadvantage to other people. And I was having a conversation with someone a few days ago, maybe a week now, and he's like, listen, Black women are so tiring and so too much. This is why I'm going to settle down with a white woman. I had to take my emotion out of it, right? Because I understand what he was saying, but it hurt to hear him say that, right?
And it's problematic for him not to be understanding the why. We always have to be asking the why. Why do you feel that way? And why do you think you've observed this time and time again with Black women? Like, let's talk about it, you know?
Boom. Exactly my point. So then I was like, let's talk about it. So then I bring into the factor of all of what we just spoke about, right? And he just completely gave up. I'm like, you can't give up on a woman who don't even know who she is. You giving up on somebody, you giving up on her for somebody who was literally bred to be submissive in the whole for you. Understand that. So what you are doing at the end of the day, I know that you are hurt by certain things because he is surrounded by females that were out to use him. I get it. But then I show him they're not just out to use him because, hey, you know what, he's easy target. Remember, their motives behind that are to survive. Then I ask him, the women that you went after, what did they all have in common? Oh, the mother didn't like them and they're living on the streets, so they had to find somewhere to live. I said, exactly. That is in common there. So when you think from that perspective, they're trying to survive. I said, exactly. Exactly. The survival mentality blinds your judgment to make you do anything. And that is what females, especially mothers, do. They do what they need to do to make sure their kids have what they need to have.
Yeah.
So we all have childhood issues, and I would love for parents to be accountable for us in that sense.
And their contribution to it, and accountable in that they do the inner work as well. I think I told you that I'm seeing a Black female therapist now. And it has really changed my life. Like, everyone needs that one person who can hold space and who can also ask you the questions to help give you the tools that you need to solve your own, you know, doings, you know. But, you know, I never had that before, and I never had the healthiest relationship with my own mother. So having this other person who is removed from me, you know, and just sees me as I am now, and just sees the things that I want to work on, and is able to hold the space for me to vent, to share about what has transpired, to talk about the childhood stuff, to, you know, all of that. It's reinforcing, refreshing, that we need to be doing the inner work as well.
Yeah, we have a lot of inner work to do, and I always tell people that a lot of people don't think about genetics, right? Whether it is that you grew up in a really good home, right? You still have genetic memory from your past generation of people who have pain within their DNA. You may not be living from your pain, but you may be living from unresolved pain from your ancestors there. So we have a lot of unlearning to do. So this is when I go through a learning process, I don't always go through it in terms of the systematic unlearning mentality. I go through it in terms of my DNA mentality, how motivated I am for my future, what are the things that I want, all of those different things, and then realize that your body learns your pattern of life, right? Yeah. And the moment you try to change the pattern to something else, your body fights that. It says, yo, we don't know this. We need to stick to what we know, right? Yeah. So you are going to feel like, I want to change. I want to do the inner work. But you're going to feel like you're getting resistance. Yeah, your body and yourself, though, they're talking about, listen, we never climb a mountain. Why are you trying to climb this mountain? Yeah. Right? So then you have to say, yo, new experience. Let's do this. Let's see how we feel. You have to fight your way, because 26 to 27 years of the same pattern, and then you want change in a month? No, it don't work like that.
Yeah.
You need at least...
takes time, takes intention, you know?
Exactly. It takes all of that for you to learn how to become the new you. Your body is going to fight that. Your cells are going to fight that. That's why there are certain things out there that you have to force yourself in the beginning to do until it becomes a routine within your DNA again, right? That it says, oh yeah, I see she like reading every 3 o'clock on Tuesdays. Your body is going to look forward to every 3 o'clock on Tuesdays to reading, right? Because that is what your body adjusts for something that you routinely do. So change is beautiful, but change takes very much a lot of determination and hard work, because your body is accustomed to one set of programming.
Yeah.
And I don't think people visited from that direction. They always say, no, you just got to repeat it. If you want it, it's going to happen. Oh, no, it's going to happen for sure. When?
Yeah.
Exactly. So in terms of your change, in terms of the things that you are doing now to say that you like to do, and you knew in the past you would not have done it, it would have taken a while. How long did you take to do it, and how do you feel now?
So, I mean, for me, when I was younger, I didn't necessarily tap into my spirituality. And it wasn't until I got a little bit older and, you know, read some books and also visited places that were for spirituality, and moved to Thailand and was in a completely different culture that they practice Eastern medicine and traditions and this and this and this and spirituality and beliefs, that I was able to kind of really put that into full swing. So like getting into meditation, getting into ceremony, getting into manifesting, ceremonies, I guess, and things like that. I mean, it took me a little while to get to a place where I am now. I mean, I would say for the last 5 years, really, I've kind of been on this spiritual realm of this. I went vegan 11 years ago. So like I said, the last time we chatted, being vegan and putting into my body seed from the earth, fruits and veg and grains, like that has also completely changed my vibration. When I was younger, I was maybe here, and like as I've kind of done these little steps in life, I feel like my vibration is constantly reaching a higher plane. And so I mean, there's still more work that I would want to do, things that maybe I could work on, or things that I could incorporate into my life. I haven't thought about it so much like recently because of the state of the world, but that's also like a wake up call. Like, what else are you doing to add to your elevation? So, I mean, who knows? Like maybe doing some more retreats or doing more women's circles or things like that. I mean, there's other things that I know I could be doing to get to that next place.
Yes. I love that she mentioned food, because I always tell people the food that you eat is the vibration that you are.
Yeah. If you are putting for me, I believe if you are putting animals and death and fear and pain into your body, that is the vibration that you are working with. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And it's coming to the point where people are realizing that energies are in everything, right? And fear is in also everything. So if you die in fear, your body releases a chemical. You eat that chemical, you put the chemical in your body. Guess what? You just consume fear. Understand? So you eat dead things, it is dead. There is no frequency within the death. So what you think is going to happen to you, your frequency level is going to go down with the death that you just ate. Right? I like to get grimy with it. I don't like to hide stuff. So
no, that's the truth. Yeah.
So when you eat live food, guess what's going to happen? Your energy is going to become lively, right? So food is important because here's how I'm going to twist this. Food is important. If it wasn't important, they would not have worked so hard on the foods that they feed us. The franchises of fast food places that they have all around the globe. If it wasn't important. Food is the main thing that we consume, that we all have in common, that we consume.
We all have to. Yeah.
Thank you. So if it is that important, if it wasn't important, why did they make it so prevalent to eat all of these bad things? Because they know that as long as they have you eating bad things, the more unaware you're going to become, and you're going to stay at that level that they want you to. They do not want fighters. They need submissive people, right? So when you learn that your food bring you to a point where you're going to be like, yo, I thought that color wasn't blue, but apparently it's green. You be seeing things that you didn't notice before. You be seeing that the system is pure bullshit. You be seeing that religion is bullshit as well. You be seeing the purpose of us being inside is doing more harm to us than being outside. You start to question things. Your food, in any growth, anybody ever asked me, what is your main thing for your growth? Food.
Yeah, I love that. Absolutely. Yeah.
As long as you're eating bad, you're going to continue. No matter how much you try to be a workout maniac, or try to be the most motivated person, or try to have your own businesses or whatever. Food is a heavy burden on your body, especially when you eat certain things. You feel like you don't want to do anything. You just want to sit there. You're not going to be refreshed to want to do anything, and you're going to stick there. So change your food. The first thing you want to do in any retreat or growth or anything, change your food, and anything else happens after. Any opinions on that?
I believe that, like, for me, it's like I would love if the whole world was plant-based and vegan, you know what I mean? Like for me, I'm like, because this is the experiences that I've had, like I said, it's changed my life. It's changed the way that I look at food. It's changed the way that I've looked at agriculture. It's changed the way that I've looked at the economy, the government, racism, oppression, sexism, like, you know what I mean? It's all interconnected. And so once we start critiquing, you know, the world around us and start making these changes that align with our morals and our ethics, then you're right. Like that you leave that sedated state when you are eating the high fats, high sugared, processed chemicals. It's chemical, and it keeps you sedated, you know. Try having a conversation like this with someone who eats all meat every day, this and this and this. I don't know if the things would connect in the same way.
It's not. It's
so.
not gonna connect. I have tried, trust me, because we in my circle that I have, we don't have a lot of people who eat vegan. I dislike vegan, honestly. I truly do, because of the stigma behind the word and what people do behind it. Because right now, it is ridiculous to me that the men out here trying to get vegan burgers and eggs. I'm like, if you're done with meat and all of those things, why are you trying to get a substitute? Just be plant-based for me. So
this is the argument as well with that a lot of people are like, well, it's not even like a hamburger, it's not a hot dog, so why call it that if it's vegan, and why are you eating this stuff and this and that? So we're people. We love flavor. We love taste. We love cuisine. So for me, as someone who's going into the grocery store and sees the vegan version of the Just Eggs that you can like pour into a skillet and like make vegan omelets, vegan Korean omelets, and this, and this,
I know what
and
you
this.
mean.
But there's no murder, there's no death, there's no pain. I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to do that. And I'm not going to argue with someone for why they're choosing to eat the foods that they're eating ethically. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I think for me, I mean, and you have some people who are completely raw food, like raw fruit, raw food or whatever. More power to you. I happen to love cooking. I happen to love seasoning everything and, you know, doing the whole process.
I mean, you lived in Thailand for like 3 years. Of course you're going to like flavor. Come on now.
So I mean, I hear that, and I get when people get confused by it, but at the end of the day, it's like, vegans are people. We love food. We love all sorts of food. People are going to have different needs and wants or whatever. Thank God there are products for people who have those needs and wants, for the vegan burgers, for the hot dogs, for the eggs, without death and cruelty, you know? So, I mean, when I went vegan 11 years ago, we didn't have the Impossible Burgers. We didn't have the Beyond Beef Burgers. We didn't have the soy milk and almond milk and oat milk brands that we have today. I was literally just eating like tofu, fruits, veg, you know what I mean? And I'm so happy that we've come to where we are today, where there can be more variety in what I'm able to eat, and people like me are able to eat ethically.
Well, my thing with it is, for me, I always look at how things are made. What I eat, I look to see if it was hybrid, what they're using to make it, what type of chemical and the process they're using to make it. This is why I only eat a limited amount of things, because I only learned recently that carrot and broccoli is hybrid and is not good for you. It gives off a bad chemical within your system, right? So I don't eat it, right? I just during the course of this, I eat chana. I didn't know that the chana that we eat was not the real chana. That chana also is a processed chana that they made as well. So, and not just that too, I eat certain things and then watch how my body reacts to it. Chana, let me tell you, is like somebody dead when I fart. Okay, I am telling you. So I was like, why did it react so bad to me? If it's supposed to be good, it's supposed to be high in protein and all that stuff. So then when I researched that shit, I was like, oh shit, okay. So this is why it's bad for you, right? So I'm like, all right. So this is why I have the issue with certain stuff that they're bringing in, saying that this is vegan egg and vegan burgers and stuff like that, because I'm like, what is the process? And I'm going to research this again as well, because I didn't do much research in it. I just bypassed it because I know they did something to make it. So I'm going to go do it again for the purpose of this video. What was the process that you used to make this is my thing. Because it is good to be a healthy eater and want certain things, but also we are still getting our processed food from the people who initially make it to kill us in the first place. So who is to say they all of a sudden get righteous and say, man, the vegans out there, let's make some burgers because we love them. I don't believe it. So that is my thing about the whole thing, the process in what they make certain things, because we believe that carrot was good for us, for our eyes, but then come to a realization that they splice the carrot and fruits or anything in that sort not supposed to be spliced. It makes it harder for your body to digest a lot of things that we eat. And this is why we age faster. This is why we get sick with certain things. I see that a lot of vegans out there, they get sick. And I'm like, how it is that you get sick and you're eating healthy? Question that. That is where I start questioning stuff. Go ahead.
That's because you're vegan doesn't mean that you're healthy. Like, so Oreos are vegan. So you could be a junk food vegan, you know, and eating just trash. And I mean, for me, I would definitely like to promote healthy, nutritious, like whole nutrient like meals and things like that. Like that is something that I think is very important. Do I have days where I go out and eat the Beyond Burgers or like have a vegan cheesecake or whatever? Of course, because like, you know.
Me too. I be eating cookies.
Like
I got that from eating a cookie I wasn't supposed to eat. I'm not.
And that's the thing. Your body will tell you. Your body will let you know what works and what doesn't work.
There we go. So I definitely get you. I definitely understand for sure. Continue. I was agreeing with you in the sense of junk.
Yeah. As far as like getting sick and this and that as well, it's like also like vegans are people and people get sick. So for me, I'm a type 1 diabetic and people are constantly confused as like, oh, but you're a vegan, so how do you have diabetes? And it's like, well, I got diabetes when I was a kid, and you also don't catch diabetes, like, you know. So there's backstory, there's information about everyone's, you know, health that maybe we don't even know about. And people's health is very private and very personal. It's very personal. I mean, so because I have a compromised immune system, I do tend to get sick a lot, you know, catching colds or this or that. During the COVID thing, I've been pretty much indoors and trying to be very careful because I know that maybe my immune system isn't as strong as the average Joe who isn't vegan but eats this and this and this, like lots of fruits and veg, but still, you know, isn't vegan or whatever. I am vegan, and I would like to think that my immune system is boosted and strong, and you know, I have my herbal remedies, my turmeric, my golden milk teas, my ginger, my this and that, and so I try to take care of my body. But you know, every human body is a different machine. So my body's not going to react the same way yours does. And so me as a vegan, yeah, I might get sick, whereas someone else who isn't might never get sick, kind of thing. So I think that's kind of also, it reminds me of the stereotypes and the preconceived notions of what a vegan should be and what they should look like. Also, someone could look at me and be like, physically, you don't look like a vegan. And then I'm like, well, what does a vegan look like? Like, tell me, what does a vegan look like? Is it because I'm not white? Is it because I'm not a size 0? Is it because my skin isn't translucent? Like, what do you? So,
that is such a surface comment, and it is ridiculous. Again, it's like saying the same thing we said earlier. Talk about you don't look black. Like, that is stupid. But for me, in terms of the medical, this is where I agree with some of what you say, and then I don't agree with some of what you say, because we as a people were taught our nutrition. Our nutrition was taken from us, and we were taught somebody else's nutrition, right? So this is why I don't believe that. And the thing is, I have been an asthmatic for, how old am I? I'm 29. So let's say 26 years. Chronic asthmatic, right? Always got my sprays, can't breathe if smoke is there. Always, every time a flu go around, I am consistently sick. There is no flu that don't come and say, hey girl, we're here to visit you again. They always stop by to check on me. And I'm like, yo, I was sick last week. Leave me alone type of thing. I'm telling you, I was consistently sick all the time. And I'm like, yo, nah, B, that don't sound right to me So then I went into the Dr. Sebi world, the Layla Africa world, and I went into all of that. And not just them, I went into the spiritual sense of the world to realize how your cells can make you sick because of your thoughts, right? You can make yourself sick by saying, I'm sick, I'm sick, I'm sick. You could be the healthiest person in the world, and you can say, I'm sick and sick and sick, and you can become sick. So I went into the psychological sense of the body, the nutritious sense of the body, the spiritual sense of the body, right? And I visit all of those aspects and how it can make your body unhealthy. Stress literally can kill you because your body slows down, you shut down your system, your thoughts make you feel a certain way. You can placebo the health out of yourself all the time, right? Your mind, your mind is that powerful, right? So for me, I believe us being the melanated beings that we are, eating the right things, like the right herbal things, right? That not the systematic shit, the right herbal foods that we are supposed to eat. We have to learn those aspects again. So this is why I am so passionate about all the herbs in the world, how the herbs work, natural birth, the placenta being attached to the body, how it can implement your growth to this age. All of those things, the injection, the vaccine, all of those things has contribution to your body health, not just food alone. So she is extremely correct in that sense, right? And don't let us forget the fact that they're always chemtrailing as well. Understand? They spray our food that can contribute to certain illnesses. So yes, you can be vegan and be sick, but they are outside sources that can make you sick as well, right?
Yeah.
So those things contribute to our body. So yes, as she said, she can get sick, and the average Joe doesn't, because the average Joe may be doing some other shit, or he is actually out there inhaling a whole bunch of shit and she's good, but she know indoor, not getting enough sun, not being able to drink the herbal things that she may have been used to drink, it makes her body go down. And not to say that she is also buying her food from the supermarkets. We know that they spray her food. She go home, she wash it off with water. It is still beneath the surface of the thing that she's going to cook, and she's going to eat that. So yes, she's going to get sick. But I don't want people to think that, oh, you're vegan and you're still getting sick because your human body is prone to be sick. That is the most ridiculous thing. I hear people say that your human body is here to live through a certain time. No, it is not here to live through a certain time. And I am going to fight that. Why? Because it has proven to us that we were here to live longer than the system made us here to be. Our energy proves that. The things that the Mother Nature produced to make us live longer. Where before we become this weak during slavery, why you think it was so strong for us to work in the sun all day long with one meal a day? And because God did that one meal a day, was that our body were made to endure certain things. The sun is there to make sure to reinforce that we get certain energy that we need. So our body was not supposed to live from 1 to 100. It was supposed to live longer, but we got compromised and our lifespan got shortened. It is not because God in the Bible say we were living to 900 years and it wasn't supposed to be say cut it short. It has nothing to do with that, right? So for me, I do believe that yes, we do get sick while eating healthy because they are outside sources, but we were meant to live longer than the average Joe.
Yeah, no, great points. Absolutely.
Do this again.
No, you were dropping gems. Like I love what you had to say about not only about the like sisterhood part of it, but like this health aspect of it as well, and kind of like Black health. Like I would love to talk about this like a little bit more because I don't always have the space to do that and to like talk about opinions and experiences. So like, yeah.
Girl, all right. Well, we're gonna make another day, and we're gonna come back, and we're gonna visit like everything to do with foods for the melanated beings, foods for anything, however the topic goes. As I told you before, when I start the topic, we start with a topic, but then we go all over the place. So if you want to start with that is totally fine. Let me know when you have another available day. And once I have that available day as well, come back and vibe again.
Okay, it was great speaking with you, ALANA, as always.
But those, we are going to cut it here because right now, looking at the time, is 1 hour and 35 minutes. I have to edit all of the videos that you see me put. A girl don't like that much editing. So we are going to do this again because I love vibing with her. I am so very serious. Okay. So we're going to reschedule. Let us know if you like the conversation, if you have anything that you want us to talk about. And always, always be awesome. Always, I love you guys and have a fantastic day. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, thanks for listening. And I really am looking forward to the next time we can chat again, okay?
Yes. All right. So, bye, guys.
Hey, you. Yes, you. So, thank you so much for watching my video, and I hope that you enjoyed the video, and thank you so much for coming to my page. So I would like for you to subscribe, and I also want you to watch the last video, and I hope that you enjoy everything on my channel. Thank you.